So a good resume doesn't only list the features of what you've done before. I think somebody is unmuted because I'm hearing a little bit of repetition. Just make sure that you're all muted, please. Thank you. So it doesn't just list the features of for the potential employee, but it actually also lists the benefits that it offers. That means the difference is a lot of people say, for example, multitasker for their soft skills. But what does multitasker really tell the employer? You should be able to say something like, instead of using the word multitasker, ability to juggle multiple priorities with accuracy and attention to detail. Hard worker, instead of saying hard worker, using something more stronger like strong work ethic, willing to do what it takes to get the job done right and on time. Instead of saying dependable worker with a spotless attendance and punctuality record. Analytical, instead of saying analytical, able to analyze data and transform it into useful information. The difference between the two is one is short and it's key, and it could be listed on a on the short side of your soft skills on either the right or the left side of your resume. But when you're listing it in your job description for volunteering or for your courses, it's better to go into more detail because a employer doesn't want to just know that you're a multitasker. Everybody can list the same generic statement, multitasker or hard worker. The employer will look to see if you have keywords that are required. And also remember that employers also always process resumes using AI software. The AI software will grade your resume, and then the employer will start sifting to the ones that are 80% and above. So to get it past the AI software, it's very important for us to use the language and the vocab that actually attracts the employer and also is beneficial in terms of the AI software. Every line will make a strong statement, and every line will benefit you when you're being hired because the AI software is programmed in a way to pick up on the longer sentences and to pick up on keywords like spotless attendance or punctuality. Dependable is one of those keywords, but if you can look at the statement, not only does it have dependable, but it also has spotless attendance, punctuality. So instead of having your score be, let's say, 1 out of 10 for this specific feature or for this specific characteristic, you'll have a higher score because you've listed 3 things that essentially mean the same thing but are picked up differently by the AI software. I think somebody. Okay. Now, the purpose of your resume is not just to list your relevant work experience or to list your accomplishments or even to list your education. It is actually to show that you have the right skill set for the different positions that you have in mind. This is why the first step before crafting a resume, you should have a key career in mind. If you're a digital marketer, your resume is going to look a lot different than if you are someone who's looking to get a job in development. So a full stack developer or a front end developer or even a back end developer. The skills listed are going to differ. The way you approach your attributes are going to differ. And the way you list your accomplishments also going to differ. And also keep in mind that everyone has accomplishments, otherwise you wouldn't be able to apply to a job. But the difference is that you don't you shouldn't use you shouldn't use language where you just focus on UTs rather than accomplishments. There are specific vocab terms that a lot of employers don't like because they feel like this is what they were doing. These are the duties that you've done. So, for example, utilize the formula to write, utilize formula to write a specific code, or use the software to create this certain program. These are the duties that were listed for you, but what did you actually achieve within a company? For example, transformed a disorganized system into a very smooth running operation, which increased the company stock by $25,000. These are accomplishments that you performed in your job. It doesn't only list what you did, but it also shows what the problem was, within a certain company, what action you took to solve that problem, and what was the result because of that action that you took. For example, for me personally, my system is a very organized system. So in my current job, I make a lot of lists and I make a lot of checklists as well. And I prepare the PowerPoint materials. I prepare that extra material. For me, that had made the onboarding process for students much easier than if they have come and I just showed them the platform and I just told them to figure it out themselves. So when I'm listing that achievement in my resume, I will say something like created effective lists that eased the process of onboarding students into a new platform for their digital career experience. So it showed what the problem was that I saw is that it was a very difficult process to introduce people to a new platform that they've never even interacted with. So I created lists and PowerPoint presentations to ease that process, and eventually that led to a much more smoother process, and students found their experience by the end of the sessions much more valuable because they were able to see things effectively. So it's not only important for you to list what you did, but also to list the problems that you've solved, the solutions that you've come up with, and the actions that you took to solve that problem, and then the result, what happened. For example, another statement achieved a 30% increase in sales within 3 months by providing customer service experience above expectations and targeting the need of the buyer. This is another way to show that because of better customer service experience, the sales of the company has increased by 30% and the expectations of the buyer have been met, which benefited the company in the end. That helps an employer see that you are able to take initiative, that you are able to come up with solutions to problems that are within the company, and you do more than just your job. You accomplish and change within a company. It also shows them that there is a lot of potential for you to grow and a lot of potential for you to be able to explore different positions within the same company, which is very important to employers. So it's, I always say this, a resume is a sales document. It's not a place for you to put everything that you've done, but it's a place for you to actually showcase how well you market yourself to the employer. How well do you represent yourself to the employer? It's very important to make sure that you make a great sales pitch using your resume. A successful resume will list the features that are required for a potential employer, but it will also sell them by giving the employer the benefits of those features. It is important that you emphasize on how you will be different from anybody else. And to do that, you will list the things that you've actually have done within a certain company or a position or within groups, discussions within your courses or your education that set yourself apart from everybody else. This is a very quick do's and don'ts list that I always keep in mind. If you have a job objective, which is the first section of your resume, you should have a job objective that is focused and has direction. So this means that if your career of choice is digital marketing, then your job career objective has to list, for example, a professional that has 3+ years of experience in digital marketing platforms, uh, and then list all the software that you could use and what you can do for this company. You shouldn't use paragraphs or complete sentences. You should always use point form because it's easier for a software, AI software, to skim through, and it's also easier for an employee to skim through. Looking through a very extensive and long paragraph is very tedious for an employer, but looking through point form is much quicker, and it helps the employer actually see an overview of your resume because they usually skim through it. They don't go in depth. If the small points are popping within a resume, then you have attracted your employer's attention. You should always group your skills and abilities according to categories. And this is very important because I see that a lot of people, what they do is they list the different skills within different jobs that they've done. So let's say, for example, I have strong coding skills, but I also have strong web programming skills. I also have strong UX UI design skills. Instead of listing all of that in one position, categorize your skills into different positions or even different degrees or different education programs or different sorry, or different courses, because it helps the employer see that you've grown a certain skill from 0 to 100. Let's talk about programming, for example. If you've listed that you only, in one position, you've listed one sentence explaining your programming skills, and then you started listing other skills, the employer would only see that you've talked about programming once. Instead, in the same position, talk about programming in depth in point form, and then in the next position, list any other skills um, or experience that you've gained from different positions or different courses or different programs. If you're a digital marketer, collect all your social media skills in one position and then move all your design skills to another position. Do not intermix skills because it will look tedious for the employer and it will show that you haven't developed the skill well from a level 0 to a level 100. The more you talk about a certain skill, the more it shows that you've gone in depth for that specific skill, and the more it shows that you've actually put in the effort to grow that skill and to learn better and to understand that skill set better. You should always use white space, and I see a lot of resumes that are very packed and you see writing everywhere and it looks completely hard on the eye. White space is important for two things. The AI software has to have a format that is easy for it to read, but also if it's too packed, the employer will find it difficult to skim through your resume quickly and will end up disregarding it just because of how it looks. Present yourself accurately and positively, and make sure you stress on your accomplishments, not your duties. So don't just say performed strong or I performed duties related to coding or performed programming skills. List exactly how your skills have benefited the company. Your work history should not go beyond 10 years. So no matter how, even your education, if you have above 10 years, anything above that 10-year mark should be disregarded. It shouldn't be listed, it shouldn't be included on your resume. Use active verbs and stick to the facts. That means that don't say has done or have performed. No, perform. Use active verbs that you've currently doing it and stick to the facts. Keep it short and stick to the fact. Include only the relevant information that an employer would need. If you have several customer service skills or you were able to answer phone calls during your job, that's great, but it's not relevant to a programming position. So do not list the skills that are not relevant to the career that you're applying to or to the career that you chose. Maintain consistency in your formatting, so choose the same paragraph styles, choose the same font size, choose the same title. For your entire resume, it should always look consistent and make it attractive to the eye. No strong colors. I've seen a lot of resumes that are pink and bright blue and no strong colors. Keep it grayscale, or if you're choosing to go for color, make sure that it is a light blue color, for example, or a very, very light um, color. I don't know what this color is called, but beige, I guess. Something that's easy on the eye and it's not difficult uh, to 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 attract the employer. Also, make sure that you use bullet points and also ensure that somebody else, not just you, somebody else reads over your resume to proofread it for grammar errors and also to proofread it for any spelling errors, because that would look super bad on your resume. Not only because of an employer would pick it on. No, an employer usually will not notice grammar errors or spelling errors, but the AI software that will grade your resume will pick any spelling errors, any grammatical errors, even the simple ones. So make sure that your resume does not have any grammar or spelling errors. For digital career resumes, it shouldn't be more than two pages. At best, 2 pages, not anything more. If you can keep it into 1 page, that's even better. But for technical resumes, it usually can go above that, so not more than 2 pages. Make sure that you are listing relevant skills, so do not put personal interests or hobbies. Do not list anything that's outside of the target employer, and make sure that not every resume will look the same for every employer, even if it's for the same career. Different employers target different skill sets. So once you're reading your job duty descriptions in a certain job that you are applying to, make sure that your resume has the skills and the duties listed matching to the skills that are listed in the job posting. Because you can't use one generic, sorry. Yes. I personally never use the same resume for every job, honestly. Even if it's for example, digital marketing, using the same generic resume for every single company I apply to is not okay, because you are not tailoring the resume on the job duties listed for that position in a certain company. Look at the job description first and foremost. Make sure it matches the skills that you already have in your resume. If not, edit it. If, for example, they list in the job description that they want somebody who has strong SQL, and you only mentioned that you have moderate SQL, you can either choose not to apply to this job, or you can change your resume to list that you have strong SQL skills. So it's very important for you to change your resume based on the job description. A lot of job descriptions will ask for strong SEO experience, and most of us have SEO experience, like using cloud-based products. Most of us use Microsoft Office. Most of us use Google products. Most of us, even if you've heard of Zoho, use Zoho products, but we don't really emphasize on it in our resume. But if a job posting says that it's important for them that you have SEO-based experience, then you should emphasize that experience that you have, that you thought you didn't have because it's something that you do in a regular day, on your resume, because they are looking for that specific skill set. So you can't use the same generic resume for every position, even if it's in the same career. Change your resume to match the job description that is listed on the job posting you're interested in. And I usually say, if you're on your job search, let's say you're applying to 10 companies a day, that means that you're editing your resume 10 times. And I know that's tedious, but to find a job, the process will take a little bit more longer. You're not changing the entire resume, you're changing words. You're changing a little bit here and there, because the general resume is still a resume that is tailored for digital careers or for a sector within digital careers. But the words that are listed in the skill set will change depending on the different positions that you encounter and come across. The don'ts of building a resume: making it just a list of duties and responsibilities. Worked here, done this, performed this, used Excel, used Microsoft. This is a very generic way of talking about your duties, because even though that seems like you've done a lot, they don't want to just see what you've done. They want to see how what you've done caused a result within the company. If you've worked on campaigns, if you've worked on a big group project, even right now with your coding and color course, you guys are working on projects. You can use that as experience on your resume, because you took a course and you worked on a group project that you presented, and you can talk about that programming project in your resume, and you could say and effectively list the problems you encountered while working on the group project, how you came up with a solution to fix that error, and what the result was by the end of it. So it's very important for you to make sure that your resume is not just a list of duties, and it actually includes a very in-depth list of your accomplishments. Do not include a section for references. Do not include salary requirements. And the reason I say don't include salary requirements is because for different job positions, even when they ask you what salary do you expect, do not answer by what you expect. Ask them, if they say what salary are you expecting for this position, ask them what is the salary range listed for the position, so that you know what they have in mind. If I, for example, say that my salary expectation is $17 an hour, but they actually have in mind somebody that they want to pay $23 an hour for, then I lost all this money because I didn't ask them what they're offering. So first, ask them what the salary they are offering is and what the salary range they're offering is, and based on that, you could choose a salary expectation. So never list it on your resume, and even when you're asked, do not give them an answer. Ask them instead, what is the salary range offered for that position? Also, do not use I, me, or my, so no first person. Do not use acronyms or abbreviations, even for software and languages. So a lot of people, for example, for SEO, do not say SEO. Not every company will pick up on SEO, and not every company will use the same acronyms that are well known. So unless it's an acronym that is universally known, do not use it, because it's very important for every employer to understand what you have listed on your resume. Do not list any software that you find is irrelevant or is not used in a certain country, because it will be pointless, and it will be, for a different position, it will be just an extra software that they have no idea what it is, and they won't be interested in that specific skill set. Do not assume that a reader knows technical terms. And this is very important for programming and digital careers, because programming careers specifically are very technical. Do not assume that your reader will understand every small technical term, because usually the people sifting to your resumes are not people specifically from the company. They are HR, and especially for big positions. And so HR are not familiar with those technical terms. So if your resume sounds too technical, they won't be able to understand what you've done. They won't be able to understand what you accomplished in the different positions that you have listed. So make sure that it lists the relevant technical skills, but in a way that everybody will understand, in a way that anybody who doesn't have any technical experience would be able to read the resume and still understand what you've been able to accomplish within a certain company. Do not leave or list any reasons for leaving the job or for terminating the job. Do not think of your resume as a job description and just list exactly what you've done in it. No, as I said again and again, make sure you list accomplishment. I've done this, and the sales of the company increased because of what I've done. For example, I worked in a company, I think it was 4 years ago, and they haven't used Excel mail merging still at the time, and they were manually printing each letter, and they had to put manually on print each label manually, and then put it on the envelopes manually. So it took much longer. So when I first came in, I introduced the mail merge process to them, and we were able to increase our productivity from 10% to about 35% in speed and accuracy for producing the mail, just because of that one little thing. So that's what I would list on my resume, is that I introduced the mail merging process, which increased the productivity of the company by 25% because of the speed of the process. So it's important for you not just to list what you've done, but how what you've done accomplished a difference within a company. Also, do not use any arts. Do not use fancy fonts that are not understood. Usually stick to Times New Roman or Arial for a 12 font. Do not go over that. Do not overcrowd and put everything in and leave zero white space. And do not use exact dates, which means do not put May 25, 2022 to May 26th, 2023. No, you could keep it month, year, keep it short and simple, because when you're in an interview, you will be asked why you left for a certain period of time, what you were doing in those specific periods, and the days that you weren't working. So keep it vague. Do not put it exact. Just use month and year. So these are the general do's and don'ts. It's important now to just quickly go over the different types of resumes that you could create for digital careers. The first type is called, do you have any questions as of now? Perfect. So for the digital careers, there are several types of resumes that the software is programmed to pick on. So it's very important for us to cover this, because this means that for digital careers, anything in the digital career sectors, there are there are actually 4 types of resumes, and these 4 types are the ones that the software program is programmed to notice and to understand. So your resume should be one of those 4 types, nothing else. Because especially for digital careers, these are the only 4 types that are known for digital careers. The first type, I think, is not only for digital careers, but it's very common, and it's the chronological resume, where you list your work history by the most recent to the least recent. You list your education, your skills, and after your experience. And this types of resume works very well for almost all positions, whether in digital career or not. So you have your work experience listed most recent to least recent, then your education, then your skills after your experience. Then we have the functional resume, which is my personal favorite for digital careers. You focus on your skills by highlighting your abilities, such as hiring, managing, or coaching. It is most often used by people who have gaps in their employment history. So instead of just saying, so this is a very effective type of resume if you have no previous work experience or if you have gaps within your work experience. If you do, it's important to use the functional type of resume where you focus on your skills first. So you list all your relevant skills first, career objective skills, and then you cover your work history. And so the emphasis is not really put on the work history, even if it's one or even if it's just a course. The emphasis is actually put on your skills that you've acquired, and then the education, and then your work experience. So I recommend this type of resume for the people who don't have previous work experience or they have gaps, long gaps of within their work experience. Then we have the skills resume, which is very good if you have no experience but have a lot of unrelated jobs and courses. Which means what? Let's say you have had jobs in customer service, a job as a reception, a job as a manager, but none of these are for coding. So instead of listing that job experience, instead of completely eliminating it, you can list the relevant skills you've gained from that experience, change it a little bit to make it fit better for the position you're applying to. And before listing your job experience, you list the technical skills that you've gained from courses such as the CiC course. Does that make a little bit more sense? And I'll show you an example of each type of resume, by the way, because it will look a little bit different. Yes, I will show you an example. I was just saying that. I will show you an example. I'll show you, for example, very quickly. I had to create fake resumes for myself, just to give you a very brief overview. Let me quickly find good example. And because okay, I will show you a very good example actually. So let me just share my screen very quickly and I'll show you the difference. So it's opening. Okay, let me share my screen again. So I'll very quickly show you what it means to, I don't know if you can see it now, but this is, for example, what a technical, I would say, skills resume looks like. So as you can tell, the first thing that I listed was not at all my work experience, because at the time I was still a fresh graduate and I had no relevant work experience. So I didn't have years of working in labs and laboratories. So instead, I listed my technical skills, laboratory, soft skills, as well as software skills. So all the software skills that I've gained, as well as the laboratory skills, my education, and then a summary of my qualifications. And then I started listing my experience, and it was actually in my university degree. So anything that I've done in university, any projects that I've worked on, any honors projects that I worked on my own, anything that I worked on my own, I listed within that. And then I pointed out further relevant work experience, which means it's not in my scope. It's not exactly what I did, what the employer wants for, but it has skills that could be used for my current position. Like, for example, working as a relief administration supervisor, it helped me collaborate on several projects, which was very important for research. It was very important for gaining those soft skills that I needed. Editing for my school paper. It was for looking at science research papers, and then I listed my certifications that are required. So this is the type of resume that I had used for no long work experience. But for example, or after I changed my career, I started doing a lot more work. So instead, I I listed my work history first, because I have gained like years of experience working as an immigration assistant, working for as an immigration legal assistant. So I gained that work experience. The first thing I listed is my work experience, my relevant work experience. So these are the different two types. Both resumes were really good. Both resumes look like everything that I need to see in a resume is listed, but the format targets the gaps in one and the lack of experience in one, and the other one targets the focus and focuses on my current work experience. So does that make sense? When I'm crafting your resumes with you, when I'm helping you craft your resumes, this is the first thing that I'm looking at. So for example, for you guys, I would do the same thing. If you have no experience, but have a lot of coding skills, I'll list first your objective, your education, what you graduated with. Then I will list your skills. These are going to be the technical skills that you've gained from collaborating, and then your software skills and the different languages that you've learned. And you don't need to, but I would recommend it. I would recommend it because even though it's not related exactly to your current position, there are some skills. What's smart to do is highlighting the skills that you've gained from that experience that fits into this position. All jobs would require you to work in a team. All jobs require you to work on big projects together. All jobs require collaboration and communication skills. So you can highlight the skills the relevant skills, and relevant means not exactly the same, not even similar, but just relevant to what you are applying to right now. And those skills would help you earn a position because it still effectively lists some experience that you've gained, and it shows that you've changed your career, which is why you have a gap or you have not yet earned a extensive work experience in the career that you are currently applying to. So it shows reasoning as to why you haven't applied to a certain career that you've chosen, but it also explains it depends on so every person, I would choose a resume depending on their current situation. If you have no experience and have a lot of relevant skills, I would choose the skills resume because it still will look really good, but it if you have no experience in programming, for example, it would mask that by listing the skills first, listing the courses, listing the group projects. One of those things that I listed, for example, is listing my experience working in a group project at the lab in my university. So I was actually able to mention that, which is something that you guys could do for your CiC. group projects as well. So you could also mention your group projects, any projects that you've worked on with CiC or a Foundation for Path Forward. So a skills resume would be better for that case. If you have a lot of work experience, then I would recommend using the functional resume. If you have, and there's a different type, so I haven't covered all the types yet, but let me go back and I'll show you the remaining. So there's also the combination resume, which is you list your experience, skills and experience first. It's a combination of both. Your employment history is listed then in chronological order, and then the combination resume highlights your skills, but also it helps you when you're applying for a job. It also shows you the relevant work history. Okay. Um, keywords to be selected by AI. Sorry, Hannah, I'm a little confused by your question. Are you asking what words or what skills would the AI software pick up on when grading your resume? Is that your question? Yes. So I will show you, I will cover that just as soon as I'm done with this part. So I will show you all the relevant keywords when you're writing your resume for different positions, what relevant keywords you should include. I actually have them here listed, what keywords that you should include that the AI software will actually choose when grading your resume for the overall score. So the chronological order resume looks like this. You have your job objective, summary of qualifications, and then professional experience, education, and then additional skills and accomplishment. A functional resume actually looks like this: objective, skills, professional experience, and then a functional resume is a little bit of both. Instead of mentioning a very extensive, a very extensive description of what you did in certain positions, you mention the company and what you did, and then you cover your education more in depth and you cover your skills more in depth and education more in depth. So these are the different types of resume. This is another example of the skills resume. You list your skills, and then you list your so you list your skills and then you list your education work experience. Like, for example, secretarial skills, bookkeeping skills, sales and banking operation skills. This is another example of combination resume. Well, you list your key skills, you list, again, these are also key skills, and then you list your professional experience and you list a description of what you've done in them. So these are the different types of resume that you could see. I will send that PDF document over so that you can have a look at the different types when you're crafting your own resume. A lot of you are looking and seeing that it's a very generic. I know that now there are like softwares where you can create your own resume and there's colors and it's organized really well. I don't like it. Um, it's do not, the software has a specific standard. So a software is programmed to read off words in a very unique format. Do not put too much colors or too much design into your resume. If you want to design a resume, use an online portfolio for your design skills. Do not use it for the PDF resume that you're going to send to positions. Because for the PDF resume, a software program is grading you first. So keep the format really simple, black and white, grayscale, very easy for the format for the software to pick up on. If you want to be creative, you create your online portfolio, and we will cover that in a bit. And that is where you use your creative skills to actually present a creative resume. So these are the different types of resumes. Now, Hannah asked about a very good question, actually, and it is, what relevant skills do I list on my resume for different positions and that the AI would, yes, or a QR code that you can put, exactly. This is something I was going to cover as well. So you can create your resume, put a QR code with your online portfolio so that it can be accessed, and then you can put your creative samples and everything that, on creative projects that you've worked on, and create a very creative portfolio online that can be redirected using the QR code, your LinkedIn profile as well. Anything that you want to list as a link, list it in, but keep the format of the PDF very short, very simple, and very generic. So for the relevant skills, for different positions, there are key skills that the software is programmed to highlight and score when it's reading for and trying to grade your resume. For example, for web development, the technical skills that the software really likes to see, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, front-end frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, back-end development like Node, Ruby, on Rails, responsive design, vision control, web performance optimization, cross-browser compatibility testing, and debugging. So these are the key skills, the key technical skills that the software will grade you on for web development. It will also give you grading for the soft skills like problem solving, attention to detail, team collaboration, team time management, creativity, adaptability, continuous learning. For digital marketing, for example, the technical skills are going to be SEO, SEM, Google Analytics, social media advertising. So for each position, there are key technical and soft skills that once listed on your resume, you're getting a grade, you're getting a mark, check, 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 and your score is increasing based on that mark. And then for data science, same thing. For cybersecurity, same thing. UX, UI design, same thing. IT project management, same thing. So for the different positions, there are different key skills, technical, both technical and soft, that once listed on your resume, the software will give you a higher grade because it was able to pick up on that specific keyword, which is why I've created this document so that you have that list. Once you're crafting your own resumes, make sure to include for your relevant career, to include those keywords. Any questions so far? Yes, so you include it in the job description, or for your skills resume, you include it in the skills list, or it should be on the PDF somewhere. So depending on the type of resume you've chosen, let's say you've chosen a functional resume, you could put it in your job description. If you've chosen a skills resume, you could put it in the skill set portion. So it depends, but as those keywords should be listed on the PDF somewhere, because the program will grade the formatting and then we'll start highlighting the keywords for the relevant position, and then it will score you based on that. And we'll go over. Yes, it will change depending on the job you're applying for. Now, in the more generic way, for example, for web development, we've listed both front end and back end. But for front end specifically, you don't need to list the back end skill set because you're applying for a front end developer job. So the back end is really not relevant to this job. So even if it looks like it's a lot more experience and it's good, it really isn't relevant to the position. So there's no point in listing it. And so you won't get a higher grade just because you've listed back end. Rather, use the space you have to focus your resume on the front end experience because the job you're applying for is a front end developer. Yes. Yes, of course. So these are examples of keywords. Now I'm going to show you the different tools on the digital platform that you can actually see the list, and it actually will help you when you're creating your resume. So let me uh, also quickly show you this. Yes. So generally, so what I would do is I would have a Word document. So you have, for example, a career in mind. Let's say it's web development. Your resume should be crafted for web development. But now in web development, there's front-end development, full stack development, back-end development. So that means that your generic web development resume should be changed depending on the position you're applying for. If you're applying for front-end development, change your resume so that it reflects only your front-end development experience and skills. Even if you mention the back end experience and skills, you will not gain any extra points because it's not important for this career. It's not important for this position. So it's pointless to mention it in a position for front end. So craft a general one on Word document and then change it depending on the different positions that you're applying for within the same sector of your career choice. Let me share my screen to show you a couple more things that I prepared here. So once you go on the digital platform, you're actually able to search on resources. If you click on resume, there's a bunch of review items for your resume. So the job bank resume builder, if you don't have a resume at all, this is a free resource where you can sign up for free, and it's based on the government of Canada. You can customize your search, and all you need is for the Plus account is your email address and your social insurance number, or your express entry profile number if you're in Canada. So that's all you would need. For applying for masters, yes, there are different. So I will leave, I don't know when our first one-on-one, I think it's tomorrow, maybe. So I will keep in mind to show you the ones that are specifically for masters in computer science, because it looks a little bit different. And I'll show you how. Because it will show, you will need to show, for example, the research publications that you've worked on. I don't know how it worked, where your current bachelor's is from, but for example, if in your bachelor's you were able to publish any papers or work on any group projects within your bachelor's, then it would really help to craft your resume to highlight it and to explain your academic experience. Because for a master's, your job experience isn't really relevant, but your academic experience is key in being listed in a way that would attract a professor to actually take you on as a student to continue your education with the prof. So I'll show you the different examples for academic resumes, because they do look a lot different actually, and they are actually labeled and called academic resume. So it's not a job resume, it's more an academic resume where the listing is a lot more different and what you need to include is a lot more different. So during our one-on-one, I'll show you those examples. Just remind me, I will double check today when our first meeting is so that I can have them prepared before our meeting. So as I was saying, the job bank resume, it will allow you to build your resume. The Plus account will allow you to build it if you have your email address listed and your social insurance number listed, or your express entry number when you entered to Canada. Or you could use the standard account without listing your social insurance number, and it will only need your email address. And using it, you can create a resume, you can favoritize jobs, build it, track your job search, connect it to your mobile app, and get matched to jobs. And also let employers invite you to apply. So you can post your resume, and if your employers like the resume, they can actually choose your resume and invite you to apply to their position. And it happens quite often, actually. So this is one tool that I would like you guys to find. So it's in the resource section of the digital platform, and it shows you how to build a resume from scratch. Now, another tool, and this is the one that's used by Canadian market, this and this. So this is the Smart Review resume. So you put your resume, let's say I will choose, I don't know if I have one listed here, but let me see if I can put a resume here very quickly. And then I'll see if I can grade myself so I can see. So basically you upload your resume. Sorry, so you upload your resume, and once you uploaded it, it tells you to put your email address in. I think I've used this before. And then it asks you to sign up. Oh, I think I signed up before. Let me log in or try to remember. Okay, good, I saved the password. So it shows you, for example, you click on get a report, so you upload it, and it says it takes quite a bit, and then it gives you a score. My score for this, for example, specific resume is 62 out of 100. It's graded as acceptable. So this is what I wanted to show you first and foremost. So look at this resume, it's acceptable. Now, for employers, once they see that score, they want you to be at the 80 mark. So already, even though this resume looks good to you, it graded you in a way that it showed you a very different scoring that you wouldn't expect. Now, um, the good thing about this software is that it will list exactly where you went wrong. Like it will tell you your resume includes redundant information. Your resume is in PDF format. ATS is better, or docx is better. Your resume is not appropriately designed according to your career level. There is my, me, or our in your resume. Your resume sections are your accomplishment is missing something. Your technical skills is missing something, a title. Your education certification is missing and not properly tailored. Your accomplishments, so the accomplishments spent 15 out of 15. Good job. You did a really good way of brand building and personalizing your and communicating your strengths and talents. Relevance, 21 out of 10. First impression and contact information is 68. There is no LinkedIn. So it will score and show you exactly where. So my least is compatibility, for example. It's 6 out of 24 just for compatibility. So it's not even in the appropriate. Yes, so it gives you depending on the style, but it will detect the different styles. But it will also make sure that the style is compatible with what you've chosen. So it does grade you on style choice, but it also will make sure that your style choice is relevant to the job that you've applied for. It will grade you on your on the sections on everything, on even your grammar tools. And then it will, so that's what it shows you. It shows you the scoring. But the good thing also is that it will allow you to edit the resume. Now, what I believe the Digital Supercluster team is doing is they're actually getting to see if they can get these subscriptions for students so that you are able to actually edit your resume online without having to pay. But at least for now, that you are able to access the scoring of your resume without having to pay. So you can get a score for your current resume without having to pay for money. Keep in mind that it takes sometimes takes about up to an hour for it to check everything. So it's not right away in like 2 seconds because it's looking at your resume in a very, very deep manner. So this is the SkillRoads Resume Review. Optimize resume is where you can upload your resume. It also gives you a score and you can change it and alter your resume and build it and really change it on this tool. Again, it's for free. And it's another grading tool that you can use. You can work on your LinkedIn and resume here as well. There are several profiles. You can get started for free using your Path for Forward emails that are signed with the digital platform. But make sure that you log in on the platform first, and then you click on the link from the platform. If you click it outside the platform, you'd have to pay. So go into the platform first, and then choose the links that are listed on the resource section. So there's several resources on the platform where you can build your resume, craft your resume, grade your resume, and then there are different types of resumes that you could choose from. Once you choose from and you've listed everything you want, grade your resume, look at your grading, and fix it based on the relevant grade that you received. So I went over these. I also wanted to actually show you, like, for example, I've pulled up from Indeed Career Guide, and this is also listed on the digital platform, by the way. The Indeed Career Guide, it shows you step by step what a stack developer resume should look like. So exactly what it should look like, and examples of a full stack developer resume. What the header, what the professional summary is, the professional experience, your education and credentials, the skills to mention, the relevant certifications that you need, and everything related to the resume. And then it shows you a very brief example of what it should look like. And you can search here for any type of job. Let's say digital marketer resume. It will also show you the different what does it, first it will show you what does the digital marketer do, and then how to write a digital marketing resume with examples. So it also shows you what a digital marketer resume would look like. So for every type of position, you could look at these at the Indeed career guide to show you exactly what for Indeed it really focuses on. Like for example, we saw this is only seen in the digital marketer space, the SEO skills. That it requires, there are some additional tips like including a cover letter using a professional font, etc. There is also, so this is another thing that I wanted to show you guys is that let's say you have no experience, and I'll share all those links with you. Let's say you have no experience, you're looking for entry level full stack developer. These are all different types of entry level full stack developer templates. Looking at them, you will see the different versions, and you could access them over Word or Google Doc. You can download them as a PDF, but it will show you exactly like what it generally looks like. Do you see it's listing, even though it's entry level, because it's entry level, it's listing volunteering, which we talked about a lot, and it's listing the relevant projects that you've worked on. So even though you don't have measurable job experience skills, you have a lot of skills in volunteering and you've worked on a lot of projects that you could potentially list on your resume. So this is for entry level where you have no experience at all. So I'll share that link as well with you guys. And then again, I really looked into the different types, and this tool you could search for different digital careers on Skills Hub. I just pulled up this example, the full stack developer resume. It could show you the different types of resume, not just for full stack developer, but it will also show you a wrong versus a right resume. For example, for full stack developer, a right summary would be like, what a right summary versus a wrong summary would be like. A right summary would be a full stack developer with 5 years of work experience in Python, JavaScript, MERN, .NET. Was recognized as the best junior full stack developer in digital QO. A wrong summary: enthusiastic, responsible, solution seeker. I'm an ambitious and adventurous computer science graduate. What a wrong versus right summary would look like. So for different positions, you could see examples of wrong and right summaries. It would also show you the relevant hard skills that you'd go with. These are technical skills that we've mentioned earlier, and the soft skills that you need to mention. And also key points on your resume. There's a lot of more examples like web designer, computer science, UX designer, IT project management. And for each one, there's a different example resume, what it would look like, and then a right example of what you should have in your resume, and a wrong example of what you shouldn't list. So it really helps you kind of see the different types. This tool, Skills Hub, is also listed on the digital platform. I found this on the digital platform as well, this on the digital platform as well. So they're all listed here in the resource sections, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more. This, for example, is the AI interview assistance, which we'll cover soon. There's a lot more tools that you can explore yourself, so take the time to do that. There's the resume review tool, which I don't think we've looked at, but it's also present, and it will show you, it's again a free tool that it will show you scoring. There's skills that are required for freelancers if you're wanting to become a freelancer. So there's a lot more in-depth resources listed on the platform. So take the time to actually explore those resources, because it will help you really understand how to craft the right resume. Any questions?
What was the keyword that you used to search all of this and the resources in the digital platform? Just resume or?
Resume. You could choose resume. You could choose, so career, resume. For me, I clicked on resume and it showed me everything that I needed to find for the resume. So resume, career, interview assistance, skills, anything that you could find from the link, just click search it on the resource section, and you should be able to find it listed. And I'll also share the list of links after the meeting as per usual. I'll just share the links as well as with the meeting recording. Any other question? So before our one-on-ones, for those who are scheduled with me for one-on-one, we will, in the one-on-one, we'll take the time to actually craft your resume personally, because right now I can't reach recordings. So let's see if something happened to the recordings, but I will be able to just check if anything happened to the timer set for the recordings. It might be accessibility issues, but I'll double check and let you guys know. So in our one-on-one sessions, we'll be able to craft your resumes together, because it is difficult to craft a resume with a group, but during our one-on-one session, it will be a work in progress together. So you'll create a resume, I will edit it, fix it, alter it, change it, recommend, proofread it, double check it, and then I'll tell you, and we'll keep working on it till the scoring is. My aim for most of my students is not just the 80 mark. I like to put it at the 85 to 90 or 95 mark, because that means that your resume is really standing out. So if it passes through the software, you are golden to get to the next step. Most resumes, even the best crafted resumes, the problem is the software will detect even compatibility issues. So even if it's a really good resume, just because of compatibility issues, the scoring is low and below 80, and so the employer will disregard the resume completely because it's below 80. So the idea is to make sure that the grading of your resume is high to pass that software grading. And after that, it will focus more on your interview skills, which we'll discuss a lot in another like a very long session for interview prep. Yes, yes. And I know it's tedious, but it's definitely, if you are looking to earn a proper position, change your cover letter. Even the title of your cover letter will be addressed to the name of the company. So keep a Word generic document for your cover letter, but keep altering it for each position. Job search is not an easy thing to do, but if you put in the work and you don't use the same generic resume, the problem is like Indeed has programmed our minds to just use the same thing over and over again. But to be honest, to be successful in landing a job, you can't use the same thing over and over again. You need to be more creative, and you need to go to the source of the job application, not just Indeed. Because a lot of the Indeed postings are actually also listed on the site um, of the company. So it's more posted on Indeed just for relevance, but not to actually find an employee. So it's better to craft a specific resume and cover letter for each position that you're applying to. Let me stop the recording.